Hi guys, it's Miss Heather. Welcome to WQLN PBS Homeroom. I'm so glad to see you guys today. Look where I am. I'm pretending I'm in a forest. Isn't that fun? Isn't it beautiful? It's snowing in the forest too. Did you see that? I think it's so pretty. Today, I want to tell you guys, I just love teaching preschool. I really do. Oh, well, hello. Twiggle's back. Hi, Twiggle. How are you? Say hi to our friends. Oh, it's so good to see you. I haven't seen you in a couple days. It's good to see you. I love teaching preschool. I love teaching preschool because I like to get my kids really excited about learning, and I like them to believe in themselves. And I like them to, when they leave my room, to feel smart and loved and happy. Isn't that right? We're good friends to our school family, because when we're together here at school, we pretend like we are a school family and we treat each other with kindness, don't we? We do. So I hope when you're with me today and we're pretending to be in the forest and we have so much to do today, that you will feel like a part of our school family too. I hope you do. Today, can I put you down for just a second? Okay. I want you to hear my story. Okay. I'm going to put you right here and you can listen to us. Today I have a story. We're going to start with a story today because we're going to do a lot of really fun stuff with this story today. And the name of the story is The Mitten. I have it right here. It's called The Mitten. But I'm going to read it from this one so that you can still see the cover over there. I have two of the same books. This book used to belong to my children when they were little, and I brought it to school to read to you today. This book is called The Mitten, and the author is Jan Brett. She's a wonderful, wonderful author, and she's also the illustrator. That means she also draws the beautiful, beautiful pictures. Are you guys ready? Let's listen to the story. It's called The Mitten. Once there was a boy named Nicky who wanted his new mittens made from wool as white as snow. At first, his grandma Baba did not want to knit white mittens. If you drop one in the snow, she warned, you'll never find it. But Nicky wanted snow white mittens, and finally, Baba made them. So he calls his grandmother Baba. Isn't that cool? So she made him some mittens. After she finished, she said, when you come home, first I will look to see if you're safe and sound. But then I will look to see if you still have your snow white mittens. So off Nicky went, and it wasn't long until one of his new mittens dropped in the snow and was left behind. Oh my goodness. So he dropped it in the snow that looks just like that, and it's white. So do you think he's going to be able to see a white mitten in the snow? I don't think so. Let's see what happens next. A mole, tired from tunneling along, discovered the mitten and burrowed inside of it. It was cozy and warm and just the right size. So he decided to stay. He is getting right inside that little tiny mitten to stay cozy. A snowshoe rabbit came hopping by. He stopped for a moment to admire his winter coat. It was then that he saw the mitten, and he wriggled in feet first. The mole didn't think there was room for both of them, but when he saw the rabbit's big kickers, he moved over. Kickers are his big feet. He moved over and made room for him, didn't he? Next, a hedgehog came snuffling along. Having spent the day looking under wet leaves for things to eat, he decided to move into the mitten and warm himself. The mole and the rabbit were bumped and jostled, but not being ones to argue with someone, covered with prickles, they made room. They don't want to get poked. So look at, the mitten is getting bigger because those animals are filling up the mitten to stay snugly warm in there. They're sharing the mitten, that's good. As soon as the hedgehog disappeared into the mitten, a big owl, attracted by the commotion, swooped down. When he decided to move in also, the mole, the rabbit, and the hedgehog grumbled. But when they saw the owl's glinty talons, they quickly let him in. His talons are the claws on the bottom of his feet. Do you see them? They decided they better move over because he's got some big old claws. You think there's room in there for him? It's getting very, very, very big. I don't know how much more it's going to stretch. Up through the snow appeared a badger. He eyed the mittens and began to climb in. The mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, and the owl were not pleased. There was no room left. But when they saw his diggers, they gave him the thumb. They saw how strong his digging feet were, and they moved over and made room for him. So glad. It started snowing just like that. But guess what? The animals were snug in their mitten. That means they were cozy. A waft of warm steam rose in the air, and a fox trotting by stopped to investigate. That means he stopped to see what was going on. Just the sight of the cozy mitten made him feel so drowsy. The fox poked his muzzle in. When the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the owl, and the badger saw his shiny teeth, they gave the fox lots of room. Look at, can you believe there's room for a fox in there? Oh no, look how big that mitten is getting. It is so big with all those animals in there. Oh my goodness, you're not gonna believe this. A great bear lumbered by. He spied the mitten all plumped up. Not one to be left out in the cold, he began to nose his way in. The animals were packed in as tightly as could be, but what animal would argue with a bear? The mitten swelled and it stretched. It was pulled and bulged too many times its size, but Baba's good knitting held fast. How in the world is that bear gonna fit in there? Do you think that mitten can hold the big old bear? Wow, it's getting big. Let's see what happens next. Oh boy, is he gonna fit? He did fit. I gotta show it to you first. Look at that, he fit right in there. Look how big that mitten is getting so big. Along came a meadow mouse. So a meadow mouse is just little. No bigger than an acorn, so it was about that big. She wriggled in the one space that was left and made herself comfortable on top of the great bear's nose. Look at, she's snuggling up to his nose. She's a brave, brave mouse. Oh no, the bear, tickled by the mouse's whiskers, gave an enormous sneeze. Achoo! The force of the sneeze shot the mitten up into the sky and scattered the animals in all directions. Look at, they all came flying out of the mitten because the bear sneezed. Oh boy. On his way home, Nicky saw a white shape in the distance. It was the lost mitten silhouetted against the blue sky. Look at, he's so lucky. He saw the white mitten on his way home from his walk. As he ran to catch his snow-white mitten, he saw Baba's face in the window. First, she looked to see if he was safe and sound, and then she saw that he still had his new mittens. Look he caught it. Do you see that? He caught the glove to take it inside to show Baba. But wait till you see the end. There's no words on the last page, but look what happened. Grandma is looking. Do those gloves, mittens, look the same? Here's one giant mitten and one little mitten. So which one do you think was the one that all those animals snuggled into? I think it was the big one, don't you think? That was a great story. Now we're gonna see what kind of fun things we can do with our story, The Mitten. Tell you what we're gonna do that's pretty fun today. We are going to do a lesson on retelling the Mitten story. That's something that's really good to do just to make sure that you're comprehending the story and remembering it and recalling. So that's what we're gonna do today. And look at what Miss Heather did. I made 8 squares and I numbered them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to try and remember what animals we're trying to get snuggled in to that mitten, into Nikki's white mitten that Baba knitted for Nikki. So the very first thing that climbed into that mitten, can you remember what it was? I'll give you a hint. It was little and it snuggled in first. The very first thing that crawled into that mitten was the mole. So we're gonna put that cute little mole right there. That's what happened first. What came second? What came next? I'll give you a hint. It was something that had, the mole was a little bit scared of his kickers. Who can remember? It was the rabbit. So the rabbit snuggled in to that glove or mitten. I keep saying glove, it's a mitten. Gloves have fingers, mittens do not. The mitten was the rabbit. The next one, I'll give you a hint. It had prickles on it. And the mole and the rabbit did not want to get poked by the prickles from the hedgehog. The hedgehog came next. So he got into the mitten and snuggled in. So now we have 3 animals in there. Okay, the next one was something that had talons. It had big claws on the bottom of the feet, and the animals were scared of its talons, so they moved over. Do you remember what it was? It was the owl. So the owl came next. Okay, so now we have all of these animals living, snuggled in, cozy, taking a nap in the mitten. Next, this one had diggers that they were worried about. And they said, oh, you better make room for this one. He's got some diggers. Do you remember what it was? It was the badger. The badger came next. So now we have 5 things in there. The next one was something that had shiny, sharp teeth. And it was a little bit bigger than the other ones. And they said, we got to move over. He's got big teeth. Who remembers? Big shiny teeth. It was the fox. So now that fox is in there. Now, the biggest one that I did not think was going to fit in that mitten came next. Who remembers what it was? It was a big brown bear. The big brown bear came next. They moved over for that big bear because he's a big brown bear and everybody moves over for the big bear. Then the very last thing that came on and climbed on top of the bear's nose, what was it? What was the last thing? Do you remember? was the cute little mouse that was no bigger than an acorn, remember? Got right on the bear's nose and made him do what? Achoo! All of them. Look, I have all of them again. So we have the mole, the rabbit, the hedgehog, the bear, the fox, the badger, the hedgehog, and the mole, okay? And then the bear sneezed, achoo! And all of those animals went flying out, didn't they? They all flew out all over the place. And the little boy, Nicky, was so lucky because on his way home, he found that mitten that Grandma was so worried that he was going to lose. He found those mittens and took them home, but the one mitten was bigger. Do you remember that? That's a great way to retell a story. Before we go to do our home activity, I want you guys to help me. Now look I have some gloves right here that have letters on them, and I'm gonna show you an animal, and we're gonna figure out where it should go. So the very first one I have is a cute little mouse. Mouse makes the sound, mouse. So I'm gonna put it under the letter M. M is for mouse. All right, the next one I picked up here is a rabbit. It starts with the letter R. R is for rabbit. Let's see what this one is. Oh, I have another M. Mole. M. Mole. So find the letter M. We have two letter M's now, a mouse and a mole. The next one is the bear. Bear starts with B. Here's our letter B. Let's try the next one. Oh, the next one is fox. Fox. That makes the F is F sound. We'll put him under the F. Oh, we have an owl. This is a tricky one. When you put an O and a W together, it makes the sound ow. Owl. That starts with an O. O-W makes the owl sound. So we'll put him right there. Then we have the badger. Badger. That's another B word. So now we have two B's, a bear and a badger. And the last one is the cute little hedgehog that has prickles. Is the H sound. That's my name. My name starts with an H. Heather. Hedgehog. And we'll put that under the H. You guys did so great today. You're so smart and your brain is so big. Great job. For today's home activity, I thought it would be really cool. Because we read the mitten today, maybe we could make a mitten. And maybe we could turn that mitten into a mitten game. We're gonna do a mitten matching game today. That's what we're gonna do. So what you're gonna need to make this is a marker or a crayon, a pair of scissors, and it's okay to get a grown-up to help you with the scissors if you need help. You're going to have a grown-up help you make a template. That means something that you use to trace, and I just found a piece of cardboard and I cut out a mitten shape so that I can use it for tracing. And then if you have different colors of pieces of paper, you can use those. If you don't, it's okay. You can color white paper and make your matching colors from your color drawing. So this is what we're gonna do. When you go into the forest, like they did at the mitten and like this cold forest behind me, and it's freezing cold just like it was in the story of the mitten, you need mittens to keep your hands warm. So that is what we're gonna do. We're going to make mittens like it was in the story today. So you have two hands, you're gonna need two mittens. So I'm gonna put the mitten template down and I'm going to trace. You just put your pencil or your marker or your crayon right up close, kind of hugging the mitten. And you're gonna draw around the mitten. There, I have one, but we have two hands, so we're gonna make one more mitten, and I'm gonna trace it one more time. And you can do this with as many colors as you want. And if you're coloring the mittens, you can color in whatever colors you want. So now I have two mittens, but this is what we're gonna do. Today in our story, there was a rabbit. There were lots of animals, but one of them was a rabbit who went into the mitten to get snuggly and warm. So on my first mitten, I'm gonna make a capital R for rabbit. And on the other mitten, I'm gonna put a lowercase r for rabbit, okay? I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do, but first, we need to get our scissors and cut these mittens out. Now, if this is where you need some help from a grown-up, it's okay. But practicing your cutting and using scissors is a great thing to help strengthen your hands for your pre-writing skills. So if you want to try and cut it, great. If you want help from a grown-up, that's okay too. But if you look, I'm going nice and slow, and I'm staying on that line that I just traced on here, okay? I'm almost done. I'm gonna take my time so it doesn't rip. And I have, ta-da! I have two mittens, one with a capital R and one with a lowercase r. Now, I'm gonna put the lowercase ones. I have all my lowercase ones here in the basket. But I made an R for the rabbit in the story. I made an M for the mouse in the story. Remember the mouse crawled up on that bear's nose and tickled his nose and made him sneeze and they all flew out. I made an H for the hedgehog. Remember he had the prickles. The O is for owl. The B is for that big bear. The other B is for the badger. F is for the fox. Remember, all these animals went in that mitten. Can you believe it? And the last one was the M for the mole. So I made a mitten for each of the letters. And then I also have the lowercase letters. So you can do this as a matching game with letters, or you can do it matching game with colors, whatever your child is ready for. I'm going to show you now how to play this fun game that you were able to make today all by yourselves. Let me show you. Then when we are all done making our mittens, I'm gonna put them in a basket. And I made a pretend clothesline to hang up our mittens, but we have to hang them up by matching the mittens. So we can match them by color, or you can match them by letters, wherever your child is at. So the first one, I'm gonna close my eyes, I'm gonna pick one out, and I got the letter H. So I'm gonna hang my letter H mitten up. And then I'm going to close my eyes. Oh, I picked the capital H out. So I'm gonna put the H's together. There we go, and we're gonna play a matching game. This time I found the letter M. Then I have to look for the matching M. See how we can make this into a game by matching colors or matching the capital letters. Here's the ones we just made. We have the letter R, the capital R, or the lowercase r, yellow. We matched our yellows. Let's do the letter O for owl. Here we go. Here's the lowercase o, and here is the capital O, or two purples. Here is the capital B and the lowercase b for bear, bear, or badger. Isn't that cool? Let's see what we have left. We have the letter, oh, another B. One was for bear, one was for badger. Remember in the story? The badger had the diggers. They were a little nervous of the diggers. Then we have F for fox. So we're going to put the F's together. Oops. Let's try that one again. And here is the lowercase f, fox. And the last one, we had one M for the mouse, but I have another M for the mole. We put the capital M and the lowercase m together, and it makes a pair of orange gloves. Let's hang those up. So we did a cool art project. We wrote some letters, and we sounded out some sounds from our story today, and we made our own game. Doesn't that look like fun? If you need any instructions or how to remember how to do this, it will be on WQLN home learning page, and my activity will be on there for everyone to look at. I think it looks like fun. I had so much fun with you today, didn't you? Yes, we had so much fun. I love the story we read today called The Mitten. It was such a great story, and you know, that little boy, Nicky, wanted his baba, his grandma, to make him a pair of mittens, and she was so worried he was going to lose them in the snow. And you know what? He did. He lost one, but he found it. So that's good. And all those animals crawled in there. I couldn't believe it. I could not believe that all those animals crawled inside there, snuggled in. Do you remember which one made them all fly out of there from the sneeze? Who made the bear sneeze? Who? The mouse. Yes, the mouse made them sneeze, and they all went flying out. And guess what? Nicky found his glove, thank goodness. Yeah, and he took it home to Grandma. Such a great story. And then we recalled the story, remember, over here? We remembered what came first, what came next. I love that you helped me recall the story. That was very smart and good. And then we listened to the sounds of the words of the animals that were living in the forest, and we matched them with the right letter. I mean, these guys are so smart, aren't they? They are so smart. Then we made our own mittens, didn't we? We put the letters from the animals, the first letter of the animals from the forest, from the Mitten book in there. We matched them. We cut them out. We wrote them. I mean, we were super duper busy today. And I'm pretty sure your brains got bigger today, don't you think? They definitely got bigger. You guys worked so hard, and I'm so proud of you. And I hope that while you were visiting with me today and with Twiggle, that you felt like part of our school family. What do you think? Do you think they did? I think so too. You really like them, don't you? Yeah, it's nice to see their faces again, isn't it? Yes, it is. Listen, it's so important that you keep reading and keep learning and keep watching WQLN PBS, where learning is brought to life. Until we see you again next time, have a great day, everybody. Bye. Say bye, Twiggle. Bye.